I appreciate the compliment, but I am by far nowhere close to being the most important person in the state of Arkansas right now. That goes to someone at the Arkansas Department of Health or Governor Hutchinson or the medical personnel on the front lines. But I appreciate the compliment.
Absolutely. All right, I want to get off into a lot of uncertainty heading toward the football season. One of the questions I have is, I know you came out with a statement, maybe you want to get fall practice started. The tentative date would be July. Since then, as you've had more conversations with medical teams, what is the update as to maybe a projected date that the football program at Arkansas can kind of get back to some normal life?
Well, I think it's hard right now, Pat, to predict an exact date, but I really focused in on that July 15th window, give or take a week on either side of that. We're scheduled to kick off the season September 5th at Razorback Stadium versus Nevada, and our coaching staff, our strength conditioning staff, our medical personnel that surrounds our fall sports have all said roughly if we could get 6 weeks in, while not still ideal, that's enough of a window for us to have our student athletes back on campus, have a kind of a reacclimation period with some strength conditioning exercises, some walkthroughs, and then really to kick off our fall camp. And so we've kind of targeted 2 dates. That mid-July, again, that date is very fluid, 1 week or so in either direction. And then that June 1st date, then the June 1st date is significant because May 31st is that date where all athletically related activities in the Southeastern Conference have been suspended through. And then when that date passes, I believe that we have a chance within our conference to welcome our student athletes back to our facilities on a strictly voluntary basis that follows suit with Governor Hutchinson, opening the fitness facilities across our state last week, and we would follow a very similar protocol in regards to that.
One of the things that I've heard thrown about, and I don't know if athletic directors in the SEC have had talks with the commissioner, but has there ever been talk about an interconference schedule if you guys aren't able to bring in out-of-state non-conference games? I mean, is that any possibility of maybe happening or possibly being in the discussion?
There's been a number of scheduling models that have been placed in front of us as a planning mechanism, discussion mechanism, as we look at what our options could be moving forward if we need to make any adjustments to our 2020 football schedule. But right now, the focus of all 14 athletic directors in our conference office is beginning our football season on September 5th with all of the games as scheduled previously. Whatever adjustments we need to make, we feel very confident in one thing, that we need to wait till mid to early June to mid-June to really make those decisions. I think you and everyone listening is aware that so much changes daily in regards to COVID-19, and there's many things across our state that are opening up, and we feel if we can give this another 30 days or so, that there'll be many more changes, hopefully all for the positive, and that will give us a clearer picture of what the fall truly looks like, so we can make the best decision for our student athletes and our fans and our institutions moving forward.
Talking with Hunter Yurachek, the athletic director of the University of Arkansas here on the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. Hunter, I want to ask a question that has really come about with some fans that wanted me to ask this question. But if there's no fans able to attend the football games, what's Plan B if that's what we have to go to?
Well, Pat,
Well, hello. It's our Tuesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, here coming to you on KDSJ 479 from Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. And we let you hear our interview from this past Friday's On the Hill Sports Talk show with Athletic Director Hunter Yurachek. For those that didn't get a chance to catch our show on Friday, we want to, just let you in on some of the questions that we felt our listeners and viewers wanted to know about this upcoming season as far as Razorback athletics and in particular Razorback football goes. Also, too, just how he feels about all of his coaches, and you got to feel really good. I want to bring in my guy over here, the man behind the scenes. But before we do that, we got to show love to the people that make this all possible. Lindsay and Associates with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. Locomotion is located just below Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville. Corey Beck's Custom Painting, and lastly, KDK's Chicken. They're down at 989 South Razorback Road. Go see Keith and Kathy. Get a plate of love, and like it says on their building, it's not your mama's, but we always add this. It's the best chicken and waffles in the South. Meet us there or beat us there. KDK's Chicken down at 989 South Razorback Road. I want to bring in my producer, co-host, before we get this thing started. Inter-conference could be a very good possibility. We have some breaking news that we're going to bring up here at the 1:15 hour with our first guest, and want to get that initially. We'll get the guest out, but bring in Demetrius. Since what we've heard before we came on the show, Demetrius, and listening to Hunter Yurachek, where are you at with the interconference situation?
Oh, it's definitely not going to happen. If rumors are true from this writer we'll have on here at the 115 segment, that interconference game is kind of out of the works. They are trying to put together, I think it's not so much an interconference, but regional. Right. I think they're going to try to keep everything regional and try to keep teams from flying too far away. So I think that's one thing that they have considered. But I definitely think just the SEC conference playing each other teams, that's out the window. They do plan on trying to have some normalcy of a season with the typical out-of-conference and inter-conference scheduled games.
Well, something we always try to do is we try to reach out around the SEC. You guys know we're a broad SEC program. We like to talk about each and every school and bring it to you from their point of view. So at 1:15, we're going to get back down to probably the program still that is the benchmark of the SEC. Down at Tuscaloosa, Alabama, we're going to be joined by our good buddy, because there's a lot of breaking news going on down in Bama country. Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama magazine. He's about to join us. He's going to tell us some things that maybe if you're an SEC and in particular an Alabama fan, you might want to know here in a moment. And then we're going to be followed up. Got to go back to the Hawkeye segment because, like you said, they don't stop and we don't either. We're going back to Dream City Christian. They're kind of fishing around for a big-time prospect, Alex Chiku. Well, he's got a teammate that's going to be joining us in 2021 forward, Aurthur Kaluma. He'll be on to join us, just recently offered by Coach Eric Musselman and staff, lead recruiter Chris Crutchfield. We're going to talk to Aurthur and see where the Razorbacks are in just a minute, much more. But the question also that we're going to have in the 1:45 hour, what is the win total, the realistic win total? Let's be real. Let's not fake it. Let's not look at what rose-colored glasses for what this program has gone through over the last 4 or 5 years. What's the realistic win total? That'll be something we want our viewers and listeners to chime in for. Me personally, I'm going no more than 6-6. Kind of hope to be made wrong, but that's the realistic rose-colored. Being in the media, I'm saying 6-6. What say you, Demetrius, before we get this thing rolling?
I definitely say 6-6 is manageable. I keep talking about that Notre Dame game. If that game does stay true to next year's schedule, I think that Notre Dame game is what either propels them or excels them. I think if they can win that game, the Razorbacks will have an interesting season.
Man, colossal win. We're about to get that same way. We're about to have an interesting showing. What better way to get started? With Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama. Time to talk SEC. Here we go. It's on the hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. You know what I always say. Let's get it.
And then put protocols in place that make each of our venues, not only football, soccer, volleyball, basketball, safe for all of our fans and all of our student athletes and guests that are attending. And that's our focus right now. Our focus is not on how do we operate with no fans in the stands. Our focus is on how do we create as safe of an environment as possible for our fans to attend Razorback sporting events this fall.
College football is, a major money market for all institutions. One of the main questions that I have was, what would be the financial impact? Say, and I'm on the side with you, Hunter. I think we'll have football, but if the worst case scenario there was no football for all institutions, in particular the private schools such as Arkansas, how would that affect the university financially if you didn't have conference, the football season?
Well, when you look across the Power Five conferences and the 65 schools that make up those, I would say for the majority of us, and Arkansas falls into that category, that more than 50% of our annual operating budgets are generated by our football programs. And so if you don't have a football season for 2020, then there's a significant revenue shortfall that normally funds the other 18 sports programs that we have at the University of Arkansas. So we'll have some significant issues. If there's not football this fall, it will be a challenge for us to have an athletic season in general because of the funding mechanism that supports all of our other programs that's driven by football.
Now, when you look at it, Hunter, you've made three great, because I want to talk more positive going forward with Coach Eric Musselman, year one. What gets you so excited about Muss going forward? I know the social media is quite, very exciting to watch. But talk about Coach Musselman. I mean, he's just now come in a year, signed the nation's 5th best recruiting class. How good do you feel going forward under the Muss bus?
I feel great. I mean, his energy level and the infusion that he gave our basketball program, the energetic infusion he gave our basketball program was just what we needed. I thought our program had become a little stagnant and a little stale, and he has re-energized our men's basketball program. He's made it in vogue again, per se, for young men across the state to come to the University of Arkansas to play basketball. You saw that in the recruiting class, that top 5 recruiting class you referenced.
What's a good place I can get some chicken and waffle? I know. KDK's Chicken at 989 South Razorback Road. Get on down there and see Keith and Kathy. Get a plate of that love. And like they say on their building, it's not your mama's. The best chicken and waffles in the South. They even got chicken wings. And they got these things called loaded fries. I think you might want to get on down there. Meet me down there or see me down there. KDK's Chicken at 989 Razorback Road.
Welcome back to our Tuesday edition of OTH here on KDSJ 479. And, we got away a little bit from talking the broad spectrum of the SEC and just how much it does mean more. So we woke up today and want to get back and start kind of get back in the game mode as everyone else is. So we thought we'd make our way down because there's a lot of breaking news in the SEC, but no bigger news, as always, at the, like I said, benchmark in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We're going to bring on our good buddy, Stephen M. Smith from Touchdown Alabama Mag. Stephen M., welcome back, my man.
It's been a minute, man. Good to be back. Hopefully everybody doing good up there in Arkansas.
No, doing really well. It's raining today, but for the most part, the COVID pandemic has really been very gracious, and we've not had a lot of cases in this area. But our thoughts and prayers still go out to states that are really hit heavily. But some things that are hitting real heavily down there in Tuscaloosa, football wise. Stephen, give us the update on what's going on with Nick and his program.
Well, as of right now, of course, the biggest story came out on last week, Friday of last week, that being one Taulia Tagovailoa, the younger brother of Tua, who entered the transfer portal to end last week. And I know a lot of Alabama fans, some of them were kind of concerned about that, shocked about that. Some were surprised. Others not necessarily too surprised due to you knew that Taulia was going to enter the portal at some point. It was just a matter of when he would go in there. And this is a young man that is highly talented, very competitive fire, a 4-star player out of Thompson High School here in Alabaster, Alabama, came from Hawaii, along with his brother, to a couple of Alabama high school state records, and a young man that may not be the polished passer that his brother is, but Taulia can extend the play, very athletic, very quick, has a good arm. So whomever gets this young man, as the rumors are, Maryland is high on him, Miami is high on him, FIU has shown some interest, Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin starting to brew some interest over there, as well. So whomever lands Taulia is going to get a highly competitive young man who wants to play right now. As you're looking at today's generation of an athlete, they want to play right now. They're
Right.
seeing the money that's being made in the NFL with the new CBA, the new collective bargaining agreement, and you're coming out of high school with the mindset of, let me go to the best college that's going to give me a chance to get my 3 years in so I can get to this league and I can get this money. So in terms of Talia, while he, enjoyed, being at Alabama and wanted to be the quarterback at Alabama, he sees where you have a Mac Jones in the roster, you have a
Right.
Bryce Young, but then you also have a Paul Tyson who's very, very good. Not too many people talk about Paul, but you have a Paul Tyson as well. So Talia, the biggest news of last week, he's in the transfer portal.
Stephen, one of the main questions that I have with this new G League coming out, in the basketball realm of things and collegiately, but, it could have an adverse effect directly toward football. How do you see that being kind of a connection from the G League that could possibly affect collegiate football?
I mean, it goes back to what I mentioned earlier, Pat, is, these young athletes, they want to find what's the best way to get to the money. What's the best way to get to the funds? What's the best way to create a situation where, my mom, my dad, or whoever serves as the legal guardian doesn't have to struggle anymore? And I understand the NCAA has recently, finally bought into compensation for players, paying for the image, the likeness, the name, the brand of these players. They're going to start doing this in the 2021-2022 academic year. But I feel like they were very late to the ball game in doing this,
Right.
especially where you have these athletes. I mean, I know that, the presidents of these schools make a lot of money. The chancellors make a lot of money. The ADs, the coaches, they make a lot of money, but they're making all this money off the effort of these athletes.
Right.
And these athletes see none of that money, especially when you look at the EA Sports, college football, college basketball video games.
Great point.
I know they haven't made those games since the Ed O'Bannon case that came through. When those games were the most popular and you're able to go online and recreate those rosters to put the actual name on the back of those jerseys of those respective players, these players play these games, people play these games, but there was no money seen on the aspect of these athletes from those games. So even with the NCAA, finally catching on to this, I think they waited way too late in the ball game to do this. And to me, it's always been a thing, Pat, where when these players finally wake up and see the power that they really hold, they can really do something.
Right, because you know what they say, when you have all the talent, you hold all the cards. So I want to also flip it over, Stephen, to the recruiting side of things. I mean, without students and prospective recruits being able to make unofficial visits to campuses and coaches being able to get those prospects on campus to kind of show off what their, a lot of their academic and just their program in general. It's been more of a throwback type of year in recruiting with, you look at social media, Tennessee's doing quite well, Alabama. I know Sam Pittman's starting to get some groundswell. You look at over at Florida, A&M. The SEC still does quite well with a lot of these virtual visits. What's the general take in Alabama as to how, with this pandemic shutting down spring ball, how it's affected recruiting as far as the high school coaches go in that state?
Well, Pat, you hit the nail on the head right there. It's kind of going back to old school recruiting to where, Coach Saban, he's not only doing the Zoom meetings with these recruits, but it's getting back to getting on the phone with these young men and selling them with your words on the program.
Right.
It's getting back to really talking, verbally about, this is why you need to come here. We're targeting you. You're our main guy, or targeting the groups of athletes that are very high on your board and still telling them, hey, we want you here. We know it's tough right now. We're being cautious right now with the coronavirus pandemic, not wanting this thing to spread, practicing the social distancing because these young men, they really want to get on the campus, but you have to sell them on. You can't be here right now because we're trying to stay safe, but at the same time, you are still valuable to us. You're still a point of emphasis. We still want you here. So, Coach Saban and his staff, which includes Jeff Banks, Pete Golding, Steve Sarkisian, Sal Sunseri, Carl Scott, among others, these coaches are contacting 2 and 3 and sometimes four times a day their main recruits that are very much so high on that they want to
Good
see,
point.
at the program. So it's difficult. It's nerve-wracking because you want to get the young men on campus, the young men and their families, they want to be on campus, but because of you don't want to have anything to tip the scale in spreading this virus, and it's going back to getting on the phone and with your words painting the picture of this is why you want to be at Alabama.
Hey, my man, I know. See, that's why I call you. When I need an SEC scoop from the Bama side of things, we always know who we need to reach out to. And, Stephen, before we let you go, could you tell all the viewers and listeners how they could catch your show and what days that'll be on?
Absolutely. They can catch In My Own Words, the podcast, via Touchdown Alabama Magazine. We're on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday via YouTube. Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 p.m. Central Time. Monday, Wednesday, Friday on YouTube. In My Own Words, the podcast, where we are taking the Crimson Tide angle by angle, all that you can handle.
I like that, my man. Now, you know what they say. It just means more in the SEC. But, hey, Stephen, have a blessed one, and thanks for taking time out with me today, my buddy.
Oh, no problem, Pat. Anytime. Y'all be good up there.
All right. That was Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Demetrius had a lot of good insight, didn't he?
Absolutely. I think Stephen reiterated a lot of the things that I was saying as far as the NCAA kind of coming in the game late, as far as trying to get these students the type of compensation needed for their athletic talent. And I think they did. They waited way too late, and I think now, even when you think about the compensation, the G League was smart enough to include that education. Right. So I think that right there was that kind of ultimate factor tipping the hat to saying, hey, if I have the potential opportunity to go to the next league instead of me going to college, I'm going to take the money.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you have those two sport athletes, you can have you could have a 4 or 5 star football player, but he could also be a 4 or 5 star basketball player. And he may just have a little bit more advantage to get in that G League. I think, college coaches are really going to start looking at, in particular, football coaches are really going to have to pay attention to those two-sport athletes.
And I think that can really affect Arkansas, because when you look at Arkansas, we're a basketball state, and we already have a lot of kids that tend to lean to the basketball side.
Right.
So when you're coming from the state of Arkansas and you look, okay, we already don't have a lot of camps here. We already don't get a lot of exposure. Arkansas recruits us, but they don't recruit us. So when you're an Arkansas kid, basketball is sounding real, appealing right now if you're looking at trying to go to the next level.
Well, we sure thought I'm glad you mentioned basketball, because now it's time to get on the Must Bus and his Hog Eye segment, as we're going to make a trip to Dream City Christian Academy out in Arizona, where we're getting ready to catch up with 2021 power forward and Arkansas major prospect, Aurthur Kaluma. He's up next. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Back in a moment.
Of Arkansas, and so he's given our program what it needed at this time. And Mike Anderson had done a number of wonderful things, and he had taken our program to another level from when he arrived, and it was time to make a change, and for somebody like Eric Musselman to kind of reinvigorate our men's basketball program, and that's exactly what he did. And I think we won 20 games this year with a roster that had a lot of question marks coming into it, and I think you saw the overall development of players like Mason Jones, what he became under Coach Musselman's leadership and mentoring was amazing. Now, with that said, Mason put in a tremendous amount of work. I can't remember going into the basketball performance center at a time where Mason wasn't in there shooting, and so. But I think that's also some of the influence that Eric Musselman has had on all of our team members is just how hard you have to work to accomplish your goals, both as an individual and as a team.
When you look at the Sam Pittman hire, I know that was there wasn't a night, Hunter, that you didn't get on Facebook or Twitter and see someone else had you at a certain school. I was one of the guys that really felt good about Sam Pittman. Didn't think he would have a chance to get it, but I felt like he would be the perfect fit. After meeting Sam the night that you offered him the job, what was it that stood out to you about Coach Pittman? And now after hiring him, what gives you the confidence to say, hey, I did make the right hire after seeing what he's done so far, not having spring ball or his first football game in Razorback Stadium?
Sure. Well, a number of things stood out for me about Sam Pittman, and that we had definitive needs at the University of Arkansas in regards to our football program. First and foremost, we need to improve in recruiting. And Sam Pittman has been, throughout his career, wherever he has been, a proven recruiter of young men. Second, we needed to develop up front our offensive and defensive lines, and that is Sam's specialty. And third, we needed the ability, someone that was well connected and intertwined, that could hire a really good staff to surround these young men with. And then the final thing is they needed to be a great fit for our institution, and they wanted the challenge of being the head football coach at the University of Arkansas. And so those, when it came down to it, those are all the things that impressed me and went into my decision to hire Sam. And since he's arrived, I have not been disappointed. He has done an incredible job developing relationships with each of the young men that are currently in our program. He did an incredible job building a great staff that we're surrounding those young men, and he does an incredible job recruiting. I sat in on a recruiting call with him a week or so ago, and it's amazing, the relation.
Of On the Hill Sports Talk Radio here on KDSJ 479, as we're on here live each and every day, Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. And Arkansas and Coach Eric Musselman, they had a great class here in this 20 class as it was ranked 5th in the country by ESPN. But, I think what they're on in that 2021 class could be even more special. So we thought we'd bring on a high major prospect of that class out of Dream City Christian, 2021 power forward, Aurthur Kaluma. Big Aurthur, welcome to OTH, my man.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Aurthur, let's talk about the recruiting process and how things are going for you heading into your senior season. Arkansas came out with an offer just a little over a week ago. Talk about that offer and the relationship that's starting to develop with you and the University of the Arkansas Razorbacks.
I mean, it's great. I mean, I'm able to talk to Coach Musselman at sometimes. Able to talk to Coach Crutchfield. I feel like they really they build a family environment with their players and their staff. And when I had a chance to tour the facilities virtually, I mean, it's quite an amazing facility.
I know you had a talk, and like you said, to say it was an amazing facility is probably kind of an understatement. Could you elaborate on just were you surprised at what you saw there on your virtual visit with the facilities, and just what else stood out, that has you so interested in maybe attending the university?
Their facilities are very top notch. I mean, they toured me on the weight room, and the thing about the weight room is that they have 3 regulation-sized pools, and is incorporated into the workout during the weight room, and I found that very interesting for me. When we got out the weight room and we were walking down the hallway, on the wall there was just NBA players, and like people that got to the league, and it's a large list, I must say. The facilities are great.
Now, you are starting to build that relationship with Coach Chris Crutchfield, the associate head coach, recruiting coordinator there at the University of Arkansas. Talk about that relationship, and what has Coach Crutch talked to you about how you would fit in if Arkansas is the school that you choose here in the coming months?
It's a great fit. I mean, the Razorbacks always win. That's what it is. They have a winning record most of the seasons that they play. And he says I just fit into it perfectly. I mean, I want to win. They're about winning. So I go with them and win.
Aurthur, you train with someone. We had Alex Chiku on several weeks ago here on the Hill Sports Talk. You're a teammate of Alex there at Dream City Christian, but also you guys train with Julius. Talk about that, and what is it about Julius, and his training that just continues to have you guys, at a high level, so that so many Power 5 schools find you guys attractive.
Julius is one of the best trainers in the world at the moment, really, for me. I mean, his workouts aren't intense, but he forces you to make them intense. He wants everything to go game speed, 100% game-like, and he expects perfection. Of course, you're going to have to take baby steps when you're learning something new. He understands that, but he doesn't stop. He keeps pushing you to be like the best player that you can. He's also a great person. To chat with. He's a cool guy. Yeah.
Aurthur, who are some of the schools outside of Arkansas that are recruiting you pretty heavily? And you know what they say on social media, showing you the love.
I'm getting love from Kansas, Oklahoma, Illinois, uh, Utah definitely, Syracuse and St. John's, and Creighton. They show me a lot of love, but Texas A&M as well. Those are just off the top of my head right now.
Now, when I come to Dream City Christian, you know, I'm a scout. You know, what's the report that when I leave Dream City Christian there at the gym out there in Arizona, what will be the scout report that I write on the notes when I talk about Aurthur Kaluma?
First working player on the court. That's definitely one. I mean, I'm able to see the court better than most people. I'm able to do things that other people can't, and the fact that I scored didn't take away like my ability to do other things. I mean, most people that they go into the court and they're like, "Yeah, I'm a scorer." What if it's not your night? Me, I'll go out and grab you 14 boards.
I like
That's
that,
probably
big
what's
fella.
so much unique about me. That's what I've been told is unique about me.
Now, who are some NBA or collegiate players that play that very athletic forward position, Aurthur, that you like to, you know, pay attention to? Who are some of those guys?
Um, let's see. Never really been able to mold my game after somebody. I mean, I've watched several NBA players that I thought were cool and great, but I always want to have my own style to the game. So, you know, molding myself after somebody wasn't really my thing. It was trying to be the best me possible, which is collecting all the tools that I have now and just continuing to perfect them.
We're talking with Aurthur Kaluma of Dream City Christian out in Arizona, big time 2021 forward prospect for Coach Eric Musselman, Chris Crutchfield, and that entire Arkansas program. Now let's have a little fun, my man. We just talked about it. We're riding around out in Arizona, Big Aurthur. You and myself, I'm the OG. What are the first 5 songs on the playlist, my man, when I'm in Club Kaluma? What's the first 5 songs we're listening to?
At first, we listened to King of the City, King of My City by A Boogie, no doubt. A Boogie with the Hoodie is one of my favorite artists out right now.
Okay, that's one.
Definitely. And then we're gonna listen to some Lil Baby, of course. Lil Baby's tough. I mean, we gotta find the right song with Lil Baby though. Then we're gonna put on some Young Boy, NBA Young Boy. Gold for sure. Who else we got?
Got 2 more.
Some Gunna.
Okay.
And then we're gonna put on some of that new Drake because some of his songs were slapping for sure.
See, somebody told me those things was hitting. And then my last question, Big Aurthur, and I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day, man. I know you're about to go back in the lab and do a little training with Julius, but I'm going to make a statement. I would like you to finish that statement for me. When basketball is all done with, I mean, you played your collegiate NBA, and you've hung up those shoes and that uniform and prepared for the next step of your life. Aurthur Kaluma will be doing what with life after basketball?
I'll be running some company somewhere, definitely.
All right, my man. Well, hey, Aurthur, this is not the last time, correct? That you're going to be on this on our show, right?
No, sir.
All right, my man. Hey, you have a great day, and you have a fabulous senior year, and may God bless you with all that's coming toward you. But thanks for taking time out here on the hill, my man.
No doubt. Thank you for having me.
That was Aurthur Kaluma of Dream City Christian out in Arizona, 2021 forward prospect. Demetrius, what caught your eye about the big 6'8", versatile basketball player, I might add?
I think that was the word, versatile. You know, a guy that could get it to the basket, a guy that had a nice little jumper, a guy that can shoot the 3 balls. So I just think a guy that can give you a little bit of everything and that can be that all around player. Built physically right, looks above 200. So I think it can be a nice addition with Muslim.
I like the way Coach Musselman and that staff really are recruiting, and that's not sugarcoat. I mean, you have to understand their experience, both as an NBA player and Coach Williams, Boykin as coaches there with Musselman and Coach Mosier. That goes undeniable, Demetrius. I mean, it has to be something that's really has to work in Arkansas's advantage, because now you're talking about with coaches that's done it, you're talking about coaches that's coached it and know what it takes to get there, and then you throw in Chris Crutchfield, who I think is one of the elite recruiters in all of men's college basketball, with his ability and his portfolio with whom he's been able to recruit. They're going to be a big factor going forward in collegiate basketball. And I'm telling you, just came out, Harrison Ingram, a big-time young man out of the Dallas area, 6'7", put Arkansas in his top 10. He's another five-star player. Trey Alexander will be joining us tomorrow out of Heritage Hall High School in Oklahoma City. He's another big-time 2021 6'5" shooting guard that Coach Crutchfield has really had an impression on. He'll be joining us tomorrow at the 1:30 hour. We will be joined by Nathaniel Rutherford of Rocky Top Insider at the 1:15 hour. He's going to, we get ready to get back into this SEC thing, because we told you it just means more. And we're going to talk about the success that the Balls have had here as their run of, a lot of 4- and 5-star kids. We'll be talking about all that in tomorrow's show. But want to give a thank you to our guests for joining us today. With that being said, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine gave us great insight on the Alabama Crimson Tide program, and our featured guest, 2021 forward prospect, Aurthur Kaluma of Dream City Christian. The young man has a lot of options, and Arkansas hopes that they're the top one when his decision is made final here in the coming months. He'll be a Razorback. I think that 2022 class, I'm telling you, has a chance to be really special. But that's going to do it for us. Hold on. Let's see if we got any questions. Do we have any questions that you saw, Demetrius, that we want to address before we get out of here?
Yeah, sure. I think earlier Mr. Roy had gave his wins. His win total, he got them going 5-7, and those wins are Nevada, Charleston, L.A. Monroe, Missouri, and Mississippi. And I think those are the wins that Arkansas can potentially have for next year.
I think those are feasible. 5-7, like I said, 6-6. I think would be a great season. But I do think this team is good enough to win 5 ball games. I really feel the talent is there. I think there's still a couple of players and positions, big time game changers, but they're going to make their way under Sam Pittman and this staff, and with the way that they've been recruiting, nothing's impossible with the way they've been able to attract and get the talent that's in Fayetteville excited about playing football. That's the good part about it. They've got the talent on campus getting it excited. So we'll see how that, what all prevails. I'm pretty excited about this year.
Yeah, I think I'm most excited that we have coaches on campus that can develop. I don't think talent was necessarily the issue with Arkansas. I always thought it was, once we got the talent, how could we develop it to get those 2 and 3 stars to 4 and 5-star players. And I think now when you look at again the type of coaches we went out and hired, they're very fundamentally sound. You look at the defensive back coach, Coach Carter, very sound guy,
up and comer.
A guy that you've seen play the game.
Right.
You look at Coach Davis, a guy that's played at the highest level, been an All-American. You have proven coaches that can really
Barry Odom was a heck of a linebacker.
Barry Odom,
12 at Missouri.
Those are guys that can play the game of football, and I think that's really what makes elite programs elite.
Right.
Because they not only can they go recruit high talent, they can also go on and develop and make those guys even better. So I think again that's what's going to make Arkansas be able to compete when you talk about competing for an SEC championship.
Man, we hear crickets for those that didn't want Sam Pittman, don't we?
Yeah, it's funny because it's a lot of media guys that they're like, oh, Sam Pittman this, and when you were one of the first earlier guys, we had been talking about Sam Pittman coming back since he left.
Hey, they always say, Demetrius, you got to shine. You got to always shine shiny objects before they become shiny, and I think too many people want it already finished. And Absolutely. They don't want to rub and scrub and get that thing to the beauty that they want. And I think Sam Pittman is that type of coach that he's going to go and, like Dabo Sweeney.
Absolutely, and Arkansas needed that. They needed a coach that could reinvent. They didn't need somebody that was going to come try to bring something here and from another school. They had to come know the identity of the Arkansas Razorbacks, and I think who better than Sam Pittman? He's not only using traditional ways of Arkansas football, but also innovating and trying to bring a different twist to it.
See, it's always the coaches that you don't want are the coaches that have the most success. That's what I'm saying. I mean, be careful. Never read the first page of a chapter. Always go into it and see what it will prevail for you. And I think in this program under Coach Sam Pittman, under Mike Neighbors and what he's doing with his women's basketball program, Courtney Deifel, Eric Musselman, Van Horn, all of the Arkansas athletic programs right now and their coaches, are the relationships that they've been able to build with the nation's elite, I think will continue to grow, and you'll start to see more and more success in the major sports. I really believe that.
Before we go, who has the most potential going into next season to win an SEC championship?
The women. Coach Neighbors. I'll say that.
I'm going baseball.
You go baseball? Okay.
I'm going
Van
baseball.
Horn, I can see that too. I think Neighbors or Van Horn, but I think Musselman, I think they're going to have a really, really good basketball team. This team would not surprise me if they make a run at it. I think, in my estimation, I think this is in that top 4, top 3 basketball type of team. And then, like I said, 5-7, 6-6. I think football wise, they can be 8th or 9th. I mean, this team, they have a chance this year to go bowling. I believe that. I think Arkansas may go bowling.
If they go bowling, I keep talking about that 22 class.
Yes.
If they go bowling, everybody crying about, he's only getting 3 stars. You're going to see those 5 stars roll in if they go bowling next year. I promise you that. I promise you're going to see 5 stars when it come to Arkansas. If Arkansas can go bowling. I don't care if it's the Poinsettia Bowl. I don't care.
Matter.
It don't matter. If Arkansas goes bowling next year, I'm telling you right now, that 22 class is going to be something really, really, really special.
Totally agree. And we're going to leave that with that final word, but we're going to say thank you to all of our viewers. Lastly, we gave a shout out to our sponsors, didn't we? Well, we just was in such a great mood. We just kept on talking. Join us tomorrow. As like I said, Nathaniel Rutherford of Rocky Top Insider will be joining us at the 1:15 hour. And then we'll be followed by, yes, I said it, major 2021 shooting guard prospect out of Oklahoma City, Heritage Hall High School, Trey Alexander, will be on to talk about his interest in the must bus and much, much more. Until tomorrow, it's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. You guys have a blessed one, and let's get it.
Baby God.